everyone out there in Radio Land. It is time again for the Connie Reeves Show. My name is Connie Reeves, and I am the hostess with the mostest that is so delighted to be here to have you join me this evening at the beautiful state-of-the-art studios of WNRR Gospel 1380, the original, one of a kind.
I am so super excited and extremely delighted that you, our listeners and supporters, have tuned in again for another fabulous, exciting show tonight. My guest tonight will be two ladies who recently took a very exciting cruise. We talked about the pre-planning before the cruise. Now they have gone on the cruise. They have returned. They had a fabulous time. So my co-host and I, Pastor Overseer Clyde Lawrence on the West Coast, will be talking tonight about cruising on the Mexican. This is not the Caribbean. This is a Mexican cruise that they took. So my guest, Oneita White, and she is the founder of the I Fight Like a Girl Every Day organization, and Cindy Howell, who will also talk to us about some of the preventions and some of the symptoms of breast cancer, because that's what Oneita hosted her cruise for. It was for breast cancer survivors. So, Oneita, how are you doing tonight? And it is so good to have you on the show.
I'm doing great, Connie, and we had a wonderful time on the cruise. It was even more than what I expected it to be.
How did you come up with this idea, and what specifically was your cruise for?
Well, I came up with the idea because both my mother and my sister passed away at early ages. My mother was 58, and my sister was 61. They both died of breast cancer. And as we know, breast cancer is not a disease you have to subscribe to. And before my mother passed away, I made her a promise that I would look into why women of color seem to get breast cancer more often and die more often than other races. I fight like a girl every day. You know, that used to be an insult. You fight like a girl. And there are some strong, wonderful, powerful women that fought like girls do and survived. I mean, they beat it. And we were celebrating those women. And once I got the organization going and got people interested, I have over 2,500 people on that particular site, on that page. Men started saying, well, what about us? Men get breast cancer. And so instead of just celebrating breast cancer and celebrating the survivors, we included everyone that's had cancer and survived, or people who have lost people from having different cancers. So we wore pink, but it was actually celebrating all survivors of cancer.
And so how did you put the cruise together? What were some of the steps?
Basically, what I decided to do, I decided on the date that the cruise should be. And we went from the 26th through the 29th of February. And I picked that particular date because it's in winter, and Ensenada is nice and warm and a break from the cold weather. Not that it gets extremely cold here in California, but cold enough so we can enjoy some summertime weather.
And that's in Mexico, correct?
That's in Mexico. Ensenada, Mexico is where we went. And it was my birthday. I was born on February 29th, and I thought that would be a good way to celebrate my birthday with a lot of friends on the cruise. So once I decided on a date, I went to work advertising on Facebook and other places about the cruise, and I really got a tremendous response. But the back work, the work that you have to do is extensive in getting it together and, getting people to make their down payments on time. And they have deadlines and dates. So you have to remind people that they have to, make the deadline or the price goes up. And so that was a little something different for me. But I was up to it. I had double knee replacements myself. And so I was stationary enough to know that I was really ready to get away in February. And so I started planning this in June and set the date and knew the price. And so when people would call and ask about it, I would send them a flyer on exactly what they needed to do, when their payments were due, and get their debit card number or credit card number so that the airlines could do electronic money because they don't pay cash. Okay. And so we, after we got that established, and you have to establish that with each person and let them know you're going to be safe giving your credit card number to me because I'm only going to give it to the ship line so that they can debit your card for each payment that you make. So once everybody got that they don't take cash, you can't pay for the trip with $100 bills. You have to do it with electronic money. And basically reminding people of the deadlines and getting them to do it on time so that their price wouldn't go up was, something that I had to do. I had a list of people that were going and that had made their deposit, and so I knew that I had 30 people going, and so we worked from there.
That's good, 30 people. That was really a good, nice crowd you had going there, huh?
It was. We had a fun bus that left from Oakland. I think we had 23 people, 22 or 23 people that left from Oakland and came back on the fun bus, which was fun. We had a good time on the bus.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Now, the people who joined you in the 30 people who were part of the group, were they all breast cancer survivors? So who exactly were the people that joined the group?
Well, no, they were not. Some of them survived other types of cancer, but I did have a husband and wife who she had breast cancer and he had prostate cancer. Then I had two other ladies who had survived breast cancer. They were sisters, and their older sister brought them, and they were the first time they ever spoke publicly about both of them having breast cancer. Then I had a dear friend that Cindy introduced me to. Her name is Etta Lundy, and she is a 20-something year survivor of breast cancer. And then Etta got lung cancer, and she fought and beat that.
Wow.
One of my friends, is 74, and she had colon cancer and spoke eloquently, and now both of her children have cancer. So we had a gentleman come, and he took care of his mother until she passed away. She had stomach cancer. And then I met some people on the cruise that just came into our celebration, two sisters. Their mother had passed away, and they came and joined our candlelight celebration. So we had people who had people that they'd lost or and was celebrating their life, or just celebrating with friends who have had cancer and survived it. So we had a variety of people there. Yes.
And you know, that cancer, that is something else. I call it a demon, because that's exactly what it is. And it affects everyone's household. You either know somebody with it, or you have it, or, you know, it attacks everywhere around the world, no matter what color, what age, male, female, whatever. It's a demon. It's really a demon. And I think this is so good that you brought these people together. Now, let me ask you this. How was it? What cruise line did you work with?
I work with Carnival, and I there's not one bad thing I can say about Carnival. Once they you call in with your CLIA number, and they look up your cruise, and everyone would say, "I fight like a girl every day. I love that. Are you all cancer survivors?" And I'd say yes. And then they would actually talk about either they were a survivor. I talked to a young lady and a young man. Her aunt actually wanted to go on the cruise, but she was going through chemo, and the doctor wouldn't allow her to leave. And she lived in Florida. Okay. And but Carnival assistants, all of them, helped me, because this was my first cruise, Connie. Not my first cruise, but the first time I was a travel agent.
Yes,
and
planning
so, they helped me in ways and with things that I didn't even know I needed to know. You know what I mean? And when you first pay a fare, the person is not put into a room. So once there's just things that you don't know. When you have a group level, and then once all the fares get paid, then they raise the group level too, and everybody gets their own reservation number. So it was amazing to me how helpful they were, and Carnival not only helped me as a travel agent, they will help the organization with funds. They give a certain amount per cabin a day to nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
And I asked, did it matter that I was a travel agent, and they said it didn't matter. It did not matter, and they were very proud to be able to help not only me but help the organization.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. So we also have Cindy Howell, and she also went on the cruise. So how are you doing this evening, Cindy?
Oh, I'm blessed. Thank you.
That's wonderful. We all are blessed, and we are blessed to have you on the show today. So how did you hear about this specific cruise, and what did you think about everything?
Well, one of my friends, Yaya, sent me an email about the cruise, and I love the cruise, period. I was like, I'm in. And when I heard about what she was going to be doing on the cruise, I was most definitely in. So I immediately contacted Oneita and let her know that, if she wanted me to help her promote a cruise, I was more than willing to do that by introducing her to a group of women that celebrate, themselves being alive and their healing process for many, many years. And I introduced her to Etta Lundy, who I've been knowing for over 25 years, and I've been participating in her celebration of life events for many years. And when I first met her, I was actually her balloon decorator. I had a balloon business called Balloons from Heaven, and I would always come do her balloon for her, and we would do a balloon release for all the people that have passed. that we wanted to remember. And it was also a way for the women and anybody that came to let that person go so they can start their lives over, because I found that women were always grieving over their loved ones that have passed.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and they just never had a chance to let go. So that was a symbolic way for them to let that person go and to know that they still had to live their lives and to move on and to heal. I do a lot of work in the community. I opened up a wellness center 4 years ago, and the name of my center was Natural Healing Tree Women's Wellness Center. And my goal when I opened up the wellness center was to bring women that live in the community that are stressed out, but they're still fighting for the community. City council meetings, there's support, there's anchor in the community that don't take care of themselves. And often I found that these women were dying early because they don't go for physicals. They don't have a real support system. They don't have a place where they can go and really make that deeper connection, healing. So I wanted to create a space where women were able to come and connect and work together and heal together. And I did that successfully, and I love to, reframe what Anita said. Why are African-American women and men as well dying early of cancer? And a lot of my clients were recipients that came from cancer because of depression. Anytime you are dealing with a major illness like that, that's catastrophic in your life, and you're trying to heal, and then you got family issues, and then you have financial issues, then you get depressed, you become suicidal. So I started dealing with people in that arena, and I saw how devastating this was, not just for the people watching them, their families, but for them. They give up.
Yes. And what are some of the symptoms of breast cancer, and how should a breast cancer survivor specifically be eating to take care of themselves?
Well, there's all kinds of symptoms, and sometimes people are asymptomatic. They don't have any symptoms at all. They just go one day to the doctor. They have a bump somewhere, a lump somewhere, and they test it and it's cancer. They just don't know. So it can be anywhere from a lump in your breast, your voice going hoarse, bloody stools. It can be a whole lot of things. But the thing is that as far as I can see, the only thing that I've seen that help people live longer is having a positive attitude in the first place, changing their mindset, eating the appropriate diet. And that means less animal fat. We eat too much meat in this country.
Yes.
We need to cut down on the fat, because fat and meat causes the body to be inflamed and to become acidic. And our blood can't handle all that. We all have precursors in our blood system for cancer. But how do you tap into that is by eating all the food, the meat, the fried food. When you fry meat at a certain temperature, those oils become carcinogenic, and that's pure research. And the kind of foods that we eat, like olive oil, people think you're supposed to be frying with olive oil. Olive oil is a low-heat oil that only supposed to be used for like salads and maybe to do a little light stir fry at temperatures not over 200. So if you take that temperature over 300, 400, that oil is going to become carcinogenic. So you have to learn to eat with more high heat. If you're going to be doing high heat cooking, you need to be having oils that do that high heat cooking, like avocado oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil. Those are high heat oils that don't become rancid and become carcinogenic.
I see.
So, and then another thing, one of the most important things I tell my clients that I'm working with, and all of my clients are off their medication. They all, exercise. They all eat right. They're leafy greens. Get back to eating God's food. He's already taught us this. It's in His Word. Get back to eating leafy green vegetables, food that comes from the earth that's highly enzymatic, that could open up the cells to more life and more energy.
Yes, yes. And Oneita, I know that when you cruise, because I love to cruise also, there's a lot of eating going on. Did they have any special diets for your group? Did they offer that to you?
They did not. And I asked everybody if they needed. So we kind of all overindulged, but you can see with Cindy as the coach, we made up. We made up for it afterwards.
Now let's just walk. So the cruise was for 3 days, correct?
Yes.
And so just walk me through, what was day one like? And either of you ladies can jump in the conversation. What was day one like? What activities did you have on the cruise that were specific for your group?
Well, you know what? We only had 2 days where we ate together. We had tables, and we had actually 3 people who had birthdays, and so the second night was our birthday celebration of those 3 days. But activity for the group was on Saturday night we call it the pink night. That was a formal night, and we had a room. They Carnival gave us a room, set it up with a mic and table and chairs. There was a head table, and Cindy and I and Etta sat at the head table, and Etta was our main guest speaker, and Cindy actually talked about being healthy and staying healthy during that time. And then we had members of the audience come up, and the balloon release that she talked about that was at Etta's house actually helped me, because I was keeping my mother and my sister so close to my chest. And at that balloon release, Connie, it was amazing to me, and I wanted to do something like that for people on the cruise. We couldn't do balloons because when they come down, they could harm, the fish and fowl life. So we had, I purchased candles, battery lit candles, and everybody had a candle representing either themselves or someone they loved. And I have people calling me, especially the 2 sisters that had cancer, saying, you know what? And they got up and talked, and they talked for a long time, didn't they, Cindy? And neither one of them had ever publicly talked about their connection as sisters, but also their connection with breast cancer. And the 3 of them going was amazing, and they amazed themselves by being able to talk about having breast cancer. And one of them was still going through, I think she had to do her radiation, but she said she was going anyway. And so that connection that we had, the 2 days that we had the formal meeting, was marvelous. And I tell you, like I said at the beginning, it exceeded my expectations, because we didn't come back 30 single people. We came back as a group and friends, and there were relationships formed. People have had birthdays that celebrated with people that they went on the cruise with. And really? I've had people call me and say, you know what, we got to do this again, but this time I'm going to take so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. So it was a bonding experience that I can't, you know how you have a spiritual bonding with someone? And I had that with almost everyone that went on the cruise.
I learned so much just being with them on the cruise. Oh, my God, we had a marvelous time. There was activities all day on the cruise.
I absolutely love to cruise. It's my favorite transportation for a vacation because of all of the lovely things that you just said. And Oneita, how can people find out more about your organization, I Fight Like a Girl Every Day, and what you have coming up in the future?
Of course, I'm on Facebook, and believe it or not, that's where I got most of my people that I didn't know from Facebook. And I also have a website. That's fightlikeagirleveryday.com. And we're still building the website, but I have I Fight Like a Girl Everyday page on Facebook, and people can join. They have to request to join if I don't add them, but I add everyone that asked to join. We are planning next summer, as I told you, we're going to take a group, and I don't know how big it's going to get because I want to get a list of people who want to go in 2017. And I have a girlfriend there who has it's called Black Paris Tours. She went to France to live for 2 years and ended up, she's been there for over 15 years. So we're going to, do a lot of black entertainers left the United States because they could get more recognition and better pay abroad. So we're gonna do that, and so you can look to hear many things from I Fight Like a Girl Every Day. I absolutely love it. I turned 68 on my birthday, and this is something I can do until I die. Yeah. And I love it. It's and so we're gonna be doing more cruises, of course.
Of course, wonderful. And Cindy, do you work as a health coach now, and how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, I do. My website is naturalhealingtree@gmail.com, and I'm also in the process of finishing a book. The name of my book is Your Health is Your Wealth, and that should be on the market probably the end of June, beginning of July.
That's awesome. And we will probably bring you back on to talk about your book because we do have authors on at various times. And for all of your travel news, call me or my co-host, Pastor Clyde, at my private studio at 505-652-2107. That's 505-652-2107. I thank you so much, Miss Oneita White and Cindy Howell, for being a guest. And we thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. And all we want to do, ladies and gentlemen, divas and gents, guys and dolls, is educate you on how to get money, make money, and save money. Good night.